Hey guys, what's up? It's Raven. Over the past few years, you guys have seen me make over almost every room in my house, adding furniture, decor, doing DIY projects. I have slowly just been making my way through the house and even going back and revisiting rooms and redoing them. Most recently, I did my garage makeover, setting up a whole cute girly workshop in there. It's been a few years of me trying to fully customize, furnish, and decorate my home, and I'm still not done yet. And in this video, we're going to be doing my guest room. My guest room has always kind of been the forgotten room. I call it the furniture and decor graveyard because basically it just consists of old furniture and decor that I no longer want in any of my main areas, but I'm like, it's good enough to keep it and use it in the guest room because nobody really goes in there, nobody really sees it. Although actually people do go in there because I do have guests over. I like to host, entertain, throw parties, and I have a lot of friends and family who live out of town, and so whenever they're coming for a party, I like to offer them the guest room instead of getting a hotel or anything. And I know they probably don't mind, but whenever I have guests getting ready to come over, I do start to feel a little bit self-conscious of the guest room just because it is not decorated at all. It's just a room. Yes, there's a bed in there. Yes, it has the essentials that you need, but it is not cute. So I started a Pinterest board for my guest room, I think back in 2019, like when I first moved into the house. I knew I wanted to do a boho, beachy, resort, hotel, tropical vacation inspired theme in there, just because I really love the idea of making my guests feel like they are on vacation when they vacation at my house. But I didn't want to do anything too literal as far as like a really literal beach, ocean themed room. I wanted it to just sort of look like if you were staying at a nice resort in somewhere like Tulum. I really love to vacation in Mexico, and I'm really inspired by some of the places that I've stayed at. So I'm about to show you guys the full transformation of this guest room, and at the very end, I'm gonna give you guys a full price breakdown of exactly how much I spent on each thing and the total cost of the makeover. Another day, another transformation.
Ooh, ooh.
We know we have our three main DIYs that we want to do in here. Number one, wood slat wall headboard accent wall thing. Number two, tile table
It's like
thingy.
we're holding hands.
It's Lady and the Tramp. Tile table thingy to go under the TV, and I want to do something with that mirror to make it look cuter and go with the vibes in here. I'm actually trying to keep this makeover relatively simple and pretty quick. I have only scheduled out about a week of time to be able to work on this. So this cannot be another playroom IKEA hack makeover catastrophe where it took 3 billion hours to do. So for the wood slat wall thingy though, we need to know how much space we're working with if we're trying to make it go wall to wall.
I would like to know how big the wall is and what is the maximum height of the slats that we would want. Does that make sense? I also want to make sure that we're getting an accurate measurement.
We won't. Okay, like that is 154. That's if we make it do the whole wall, which was my preference. If we were only doing it like to be more of a headboard.
I think we should do the whole wall.
I agree. Might as well. Go big or go home. And then the height is how tall do we want the wood slats peeking up behind the pillows of the bed? Like 50?
That looks about
from
right.
the floor. But from the baseboard, because that's where we'll really be putting it, would be like, I mean, you can still do 50. It's not that big of a difference.
So,
But
50-ish.
50-ish tall.
Okay.
And we know we just need wood and a nail gun.
And also liquid nails. I think we might have
We
some.
have some. We need to check if it's dried up. For this table idea.
So we decided we want to do the top and the sides.
Yeah, originally I really wanted that nice, simply shaped console table, like the other console tables that I have downstairs. But since we couldn't find one thrifted. The store-bought options, it's like, why would you buy a brand new nice table and then tile right over it? That didn't make sense. They didn't have really anything good on Facebook Marketplace. They were like, we could build a table from scratch ourselves.
But then you gotta build a table.
That sounded like a lot. And then really, I'm like, okay, reduce, reuse, recycle. I got this cubby shelf thingy here already. And I just think there's gotta be a way that we can make this cute and still somewhat do the vision. So yeah, it would be tiling the sides and top, adding legs to it because it's small, so make it feel taller and bigger. I've seen people add cabinet doors. That also just seems like a lot, but I think just styling it with the right like cute baskets and stuff could be a compromise there, and just make it like an easier, quick, easy furniture flip.
Quick and easy.
Quick and easy. All you gotta do is add some legs and do a mosaic tiling effect across the whole thing.
That's all you gotta do, guys.
Easy. But at the end of the day, this is a cheap cubby shelf from Target that we're just trying to do a cute, quick flip. It's not a professional, crazy project. I just want to zhuzh it up a little bit. Now for this mirror, this is just a kind of cheap material, plasticky, textured frame on here, but it's got the hardware on the back where it's supposed to be mounted up on the wall, because the way it's just leaned up, it's like it's warping it.
Yeah.
So I do think it would look better if we properly hang it up on the wall, but to make it go with more of like the boho, natural materials, natural textures, stone, wood, tile type vibes, I think we could do something that just makes it look organic, is the best way I can describe it. I don't know if it's like a cement stone look that I'm going for or what exactly, but I think with insulation foam, you know, and then it makes it all like chunky and bumpy. You can, I've seen where people like shave it down with a knife to shape it how they want afterwards. Cause I've worked with insulation foam before for different things, and I've worked with that like dry deck spackling stuff.
Yeah.
I think putting like the spackle, like some little globs, not globs, but you know.
Shapes.
Little shapes of spackle. Use the foam as the main lightweight base. Use the spackle to get the texture you want on the outside, and then it'll look so cool. It
will.
Other than that, this room, we're not painting the walls. I actually like the white walls for the vibe I'm going for. Of course, it needs to just be like clean out random stuff. Artwork, little decor pieces, some plants, some pampas grass, some new throw pillows. And I even already have stuff elsewhere around the house that I'm not really using that I think could go in here and be repurposed. So the final styling, I'm not too worried about. It's just these DIY projects, because everything's always like, oh, we don't know what we're doing. It's an experiment. We'll just have to see.
And then we jump in, it ends up taking us 360 plus hours as a team.
Now that we have our nicely organized, new and improved garage workshop, I can properly check my current supplies and not buy stuff that I don't need to buy that we already have. We do have less than half full liquid nails, probably dried up, probably impossible to use. So we do need to get more liquid nails. We have two guns. We can double time it. So we should get like 2 things of liquid nails. We're gonna get a nail gun and the nails that go in it or whatever. And obviously the wood pieces. Then for the tile table, we need the tile and the like glue stuff. I don't have anything like that. And we need the grout. I do have a bucket of grout, but it's like black colored, and that's not really the vibe that I'm going for. I want like a white colored grout. For the mirror project, a couple of cans of expanding foam sealant, insulation foam stuff that I'm thinking about doing for the texture on the mirror. I've got 2 of this brand, 1 of for the big gaps and cracks. It like gets bigger. 3 cans should be enough. I'm tempted to buy 1 more just because I don't want to run out and have to go back, and then if I don't use it, I'll probably use it in the future. So I'll probably get like another can. For the dry deck spackling stuff, this one's still wet. It's like not even half in there. This one's more dried out. Not completely dried out, but I might be able to work with it. I probably should get like maybe 1 more of these, like a fresh one. Liquid nails, we got dried eggs.
Do you want to get one of the really big ones?
I have those ones at home that I think are still usable, and I'm trying to do a thin layer, so I feel like I don't need, and I don't want it to dry out, you know?
Yeah, that's a good point.
I guess I'll just get this heavy duty all-purpose sponge value pack for $5. Ideal for grouting.
Hey, that's exactly what we need.
They're 1.5, and then they're 8 feet long.
4 feet is 40.
We said 50, so let's just say 48.
Okay,
2 feet, so 4 pieces per.
No, we get 2. Because it's how many inches?
8 feet.
8 feet.
And if we do 2-foot pieces.
We don't want to do 24-inch pieces. We want to do 50-inch pieces. So
right.
each of those is going to give us 2.
Why does that seem so so too big, too long. That's what I said, 50.
And then 1.5 inches. So if we do 100.
154-inch wall divided by 1.5
Yeah.
is 102.
So there's 102 spaces.
Which half of them
those
will be holes.
slats. So there will be 51 slats. So we need to get 26 of those because we get 2 in each.
Feels like a lot. Okay, 26. They're $5 each.
Hey, you wanted to do this.
I didn't think they were gonna be that much.
25 times 5. That's only $125.
God damn. I mean, when you think about it for the price of a headboard or whatever.
Yeah, I think it's reasonable.
I suppose. 25, 26. Do they even have 26 good ones?
Well, let's find out.
Ooh, they're kind of splintery. Is that dangerous behind the bed? We're gonna have to sand them a little bit.
Oh, for sure.
Well,
They will
one
need to be
side of them
sanded.
is work. This should be the wall side.
Yeah, but I think we should still like spot sand them.
Of course, after we spent so long hand selecting all 26 pieces of wood that we wanted out of the inventory, we left it there so that we could go and get the rest of the things that we needed. And when we came back, it was all gone and put back away. I mean, shout out to the Home Depot employees. They were working overtime that day trying to make sure their store was right. But we was coming back for that wood. I guess we should have told somebody that we were leaving it there on purpose, but we had to go back and pick out the wood all over again. This tile is pretty and it's $1.99 per square foot. The shelf thingy is in like 12-inch blocks. So it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 to go around. So in theory, we should just need 7 of these, and then once you break it up and space it out, you know, that should work. I think, yeah. Let's just get this. So we just got the 7 that we needed. We got glue the tile to the table. Mix the grout powder with water. Grout the in-betweens. Sponge it down. We got a little scraper thing that we're gonna just use that we have at home. And then we got hammers to smash up the tile, goggles. Back from Home Depot, I think we got everything we're gonna need for our main DIY projects, the wood slat wall, the tile table, and the mirror frame situation. And new tool alert, new tool alert. Like I keep telling y'all, I am building my power tool arsenal. I am building up my collection. So far, I have a Ryobi sander, I have the Ryobi jigsaw, which we've been getting a lot of use out of, and I have my most recent purchase from before was the drill. And today I just got the nail gun. This is the Airstrike Technology Ryobi 1+ lightest cordless brad nailer.
Wow.
18 volt, 18 brad nailer. And then the guy told us to get these nails. These are 2-inch nails. Hopefully they work well. 1,000 of them in a pack, that should be enough. See, I'm excited about my new power tool, but we're not to that point yet. I think the first thing we should start off with is the wood slat wall. We got the wood slats, if you will. They're 8 feet long. We're gonna do like 4-foot pieces. So we need to cut each of these 26 pieces in half, as well as sand them down at least a little bit. I would say one side is super rough, one side is actually pretty smooth. And if we're putting the rough side to the wall, it doesn't really matter. So just like slight sanding, just so it's not, I don't want anybody getting any splinters if they accidentally, it's gonna be right behind the bed. Just being mindful of that. But other than that, I wanna leave it just like raw wood, natural, imperfect, rustic, you know, Tulum vibes. Then figure out how to put them on the wall.
Go team.
You need a straight
Straight
edge so it's not diagonal.
Do you have a ruler?
Here, hold that. Our handy dandy pegboard where everything is so easily accessible. Cutting all 26 pieces of the wood in half actually wasn't that hard. It didn't take too long, especially now that we have the proper workspace to do these types of projects in. I am super happy with the garage workshop makeover. It's working out great so far. I do know that we do need to add a few more safety measures, safety precautions, and there's some certain things that we should get just to have like a truly proper setup, but I promise we are being careful. We have not had any injuries so far. However, I'm reading y'all's comments and feedback on each project, and I am taking your suggestions into consideration. And if you haven't seen those 2 videos that I did about the garage workshop makeover, definitely go and check those out for all the details. Day 2, sanding is done. I started putting a lot of them under this weighted contraption because some of them were warped, and I wanted to make sure that they were as straight and flat as possible to go up against the wall nice and flat and straight. So I was like, maybe if I just weight them down overnight, it'll help like straighten them out. I don't know if that did anything, so we're about to find out. It was a nice try. Hopefully they're not too warped. And now it's time to actually try to attach them to the wall. So here goes nothing. Obviously we gotta get all this stuff out the way to be able to work with the wall. We've got this ceiling fan sitting in here from the playroom. I don't need this fan. I need to donate it. Man, we just need to give us just enough space to get back there.
Yeah.
Both of us feel very unwell right now. But the show must go on. Oh.
What?
The outlets.
Like, you know what? Let's cross that bridge when we get to them.
We're gonna have to do specialty cuts around the outlet. So now it's time to actually attach our wood pieces to the wall. And first things first, I have to figure out how to use my new nail gun. I always get super excited when I get a new power tool and learn how to use it. It just makes me feel cool, makes me feel like I'm leveling up in life. And I don't know why I thought a nail gun was gonna be like difficult or scary to use, but it really wasn't. I looked up one simple YouTube video on how to use it, how to load it up, and from there it was actually really easy. And there's a safety on this one to where it will not shoot unless you're pressed up against something to shoot it into. So you really can't like accidentally shoot it at anybody, which I was glad about. I did not look up any tutorials at all. I didn't even watch half a YouTube video like I normally do for this project because I was super confident that I knew how to do it. All we had to do was measure our height of where we wanted each piece to land, use our laser level to make sure that everything was super level. This laser level has really been coming in clutch. And from there, we just put the liquid nails adhesive on the back of each piece of wood. This is gonna help us actually stick it onto the wall and really adhere it to the wall. But then we're using the nail gun to shoot a couple nails down the piece of wood. And so essentially the actual nails are kind of just holding it in place while the adhesive dries. And then as far as spacing, I just used an extra piece of wood as the spacer in between each space. That way I knew I was getting a nice even space and I didn't have to do any like measuring in between or mapping out. I just used the wood as the guide. I've seen a lot of different variations of this type of wood slat wall. It's really just up to you and how you would want it to look, but you can do tiny spaces, big spaces, no spaces at all. I just felt like this method was the easiest and quickest as far as spacing. We also made sure to start in the middle of the wall to make sure that the whole thing would end up looking symmetrical. If you start on one end, you kind of risk getting to a weird point on the other side where it doesn't really match up. Now, for my people following along at home, do as I say, not as I do. Like I said, I know we still need to work on our safety measures, safety equipment, safety precautions, safety techniques. You're supposed to be wearing gloves during certain things, using clamps during certain things, having eye protection. We don't be doing it right. I know, I'm sorry, but do as I say, not as I do. And then there are two outlets on either side of the wall. So I just had to kind of make some measurements and some cuts to be able to place the wood around the outlets, but that wasn't hard at all. I'm not gonna lie, it was a little bit tedious to glue and nail and space each piece because it was about 50 pieces that we had to put on. But I feel like we kind of got the hang of it, started getting in a flow, and before we knew it, boom, we had our accent wall done. And I think it turned out really good. I love the natural tone and imperfections of the wood, so I personally don't want to stain or paint it or anything, but you definitely could do that. Okay, I'm at Home Goods right now with Zaya and the baby.
The pumpkin. Hi, Mama.
Her name is Pumpkin. Anyways, I am looking for, mainly I thought I could probably find some side tables for the guest room. I found these because I'm really wanting something that's kind of like stone, cement, because it's going to be up against the wood accent wall, so I don't want wood on wood, too much wood next to each other, so a different material that's more like stone, like still another natural material, you know? So I thought these were actually pretty cool looking. It's got that organic vibe that I'm doing throughout. It's just that they're a little bit crumbly, like there's a hole and then there's like a lot of little scuffs and marks. They do have two of them though. This one's also kind of messed up. It's like plaster, I guess is what it's made out of, so it's not really super duper sturdy, but it's only $40, which is like a good price for, it's pretty like heavy duty except for where it got smashed. I'm gonna ask them if maybe they'll do like a damage discount. We'll see. And then because what I might do is like I could definitely repair this, like patch this up. I'm not sure if I want to leave them plain white. I might paint them like a different like taupe beige or gray tone or something, and that'd be like a really easy fix because it's not a bad price. And then especially if they give me a damage discount, but I am gonna keep looking around just in case. Also, look, oh, these are plastic. Oh, I might have to get these off topic, but for Zaya's birthday party, fairy garden.
Something that's plastic.
Because they had a lot of, this is so off topic, but they had a lot of glass mushroom stuff, and I didn't want to get glass for the party for the kids, but these are plastic. We might have to get those. How much are they? $5. I like the vibes of this one, even though it is wood, and I said I didn't want to do wood on wood, but that one's cool. I think this one is also cool, but it's gonna be competing with the other tiled project that we're gonna do, so I don't think I like that, even though it kind of goes with the vibes. You know, a lot of these could work just as far as like matching the color scheme and stuff, but I had a certain vision. They got a lot of stock in here right now though. I've never seen it this full of this many furniture options. No, this is a lot more than what they normally have. These little ones are even kind of cool. Now we're at Target, and immediately when I thought about zhuzhing up the bedding for this, I immediately thought about the Casa Luna stuff because it's just the vibes. So I'm looking at like this color scheme, this collection. So far I put these big main pillows in the cart. They're $40 each, but and then I'm like, should I get that matching coverlet to kind of drape over the bed? I already have like basic white stuff to kind of pair with it, but why is bedding so expensive? Okay, wait, Target has a decent selection of these end tables. This is actually in the outdoor section. These are cute. They are $100 each though. I just bought the ones from Home Goods for $25 because I got a discount on them. So 25 a pop is way better than 100 a pop. These are nice though. And these, I do like these. But I got a way better deal on the ones I just bought, so I'm not too mad about it. Day 3, time to tile a table. Well, it's not a table. Time to tile a cubby shelf. Introducing our legs. I ordered these off of Amazon. They're 6-inch tall little wooden peg legs that came with the hardware they advertised it as, you can screw these onto almost anything.
Easy installation for girls too.
For girls too. Inside joke. Did we explain that in that video?
I don't know, but we bought this like coterie, and in the video it said easy installation for girls too. So
now we always say that.
Think about it a lot. There's not instructions.
There was an instructional video on the Amazon listing. I think we figured it out. I kind of had it halfway wrong, but it should be pretty simple. Drill a hole, shove the thing up in there, then screw the thing into the thing. You know.
This is a 1/2 inch. It's supposed to drill holes, but I've never used it before, so I'm a little scared.
Yeah, it looks a little scary. But I mean, you just like stab the point in there and hold it steady, right?
Yeah.
It should be fine.
I think we should place some like in the middle of the outside cube, something like that.
In the middle of the outside. Is that too far in though?
No.
4.5 inches midpoint. And then so it goes like this.
Well, why would it go that way? Why would the leg go in here?
You're right. You said, oh, like this. I keep visualizing that, but it's like this.
Is it?
Yeah, but you screw. You have to screw.
Can we double
this in.
check? Because what if it's not?
It is.
It is.
How else could it be?
The other way?
What? But you said why would it like
No, I mean, I mean,
That's what I said first, and then you were like, no.
And I said no? Oh.
And then the instructions said,
Let's just...
the leg touches the metal.
Well, what are we doing about this ugly bit?
It would be cleaner on the inside visible part if you drilled it the other way, because this looks clean on this side, but I don't know if you'll be able to do that because of the fit of it. Why is this so long?
In case you really need to reach something. Yeah, I don't think I would be able to get a good
Because that's
angle.
really beat up.
Just put some paint over it, dry decks,
Well,
sand it, paint it.
first of all, it doesn't poke out too much, but
Okay.
baskets are being placed.
So it shouldn't be an issue.
So it's not just gonna be open.
Okay.
I mean, it's still not ideal, but there will be a basket covering it, so.
There could be worse things.
It went through.
It went through.
There'll be a basket covering it.
It's gonna rip up the basket. You want to? Let's see.
Do we
if
have shorter screws?
Yeah, I think so.
It wouldn't be a Raven Elise DIY if there wasn't some type of struggle or mishap, but it also wouldn't be a Raven Elise DIY if we didn't figure out something kind of ratchet to fix it. The thickness is not thick enough. Everything is like poking out the other side too much. So to thicken where we're putting this, we're gonna use this scrap piece of hardboard from the IKEA hack that we kept. We're just gonna make little, how would you explain it? Little
Circles? Discs?
Spots of extra thickness to just better, not stabilize, but so
Just to
these
increase the
hardware fits
thickness.
better.
Yeah, so that like we don't have this screw poking through.
We're basically rigging it up in a ghetto way to make this work, long story short.
Yeah.
So we gotta drill holes in this, cut it out. You'll see, it'll make sense when you see it.
We did it.
So that it will fit better.
Yes.
Now for the big reveal, let's flip it that way, because this is the front.
Wow.
After all that, the thing is still too long. But at least it's not sharp like the other screws.
Yeah.
But hey, whatever works, works, especially when it comes to just using what you got and revamping something. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be professional level all the time. Who's gonna know? Who's gonna see it? The baskets will cover it.
That's the thumbnail right there.
The legs look good. You can't see. You have to literally get up under it to see all the weirdness we put under it. So it doesn't show, but this definitely shows. Should we try to like glob some paint on there or something? Some dry decks and paint? It's gonna be a bump, but
It's like, would a big white bump really look better?
It'd be less eye-catching. Your eye goes to it because it's contrasting.
But again, we're gonna have those baskets.
The baskets will cover it. Like I keep saying. Let me demonstrate, actually. Ordered these baskets off of Amazon. I checked the dimensions and everything based on this, so they are supposed to fit, but they look too big. They're too big. But you see the idea. I don't understand. This is supposed to be the size, though. I have to double check that there is one that will work. I looked in store at Target yesterday and they didn't have them in store. I'm gonna do some more online research. That's annoying.
Yeah.
Moving on, I have to figure out the basket situation later, but moving on to the actual mosaic tiling. I'm gonna sound like a broken record at this point, but we have no idea what we're doing. And we only kind of watched one quick little YouTube tutorial to learn how to do it. So for those of you at home who actually know how to properly tile and grout and do these types of things, hey, I get it. We're probably making a lot of mistakes and you're probably gonna wanna leave a lot of comments, and your comments are welcome. I learn a lot from the comments. But I'm just putting this disclaimer out here that this is our first time, we don't know what we're doing, and we did not do very much research. We have our tiles from Home Depot, porcelain floor and wall tile. We gotta break it up into chunks. So we got hammers. Let's try it flat, see what happens. How hard is it to break in the first place? I'm scared.
Wham! There you go.
Okay. We want a bit smaller, like, I would say still, I guess that's not bad to have some bigger ones like that.
Yeah.
Ow, it's sharp, be careful.
You want some gloves?
Yeah. Safety second. okay. So you can't really feel if it really broke or not. You have to check it. Let's take the small ones out that don't want to be smaller. Welcome to Raven and Zoe's Tile-tastic extravaganza. We have Acryl Pro Professional Tile Adhesive and some things to apply with. Thought process is to kind of work in sections. We're gonna double team it. We don't want to just cover the whole thing in glue because then it'll probably dry before we get to it. So we're just gonna do like little chunks at a time. And once we get all the tiles on there, then we'll go back and grout it after. So let's see. Ooh. I don't know what I was expecting, but here goes nothing. Just gonna spread a little layer like peanut butter just to get it on there. And then we can make the texture. How much are you supposed to do? Don't know, I'm just guessing.
Yeah, me too.
We need to have some sort of kind of consistent spacing. I think I'm making mine bigger than yours. My grout lines. Doesn't have to be perfect, but top layer done, or top side. Another side. On to the last side. So while Zoe finishes up the last little section of applying the tiles, I'm actually gonna switch gears and start working on this mirror flip revamp. Now I have a vision for what I want this mirror to look like, but I do not have an exact inspo pic and I don't have a plan. So this is purely coming out of my imagination and it might not work. I want to get started on this mirror flip. So I brought it down here. I'm making this up off the very top of my head. So hopefully this turns out well using expanding foam. I'm gonna first line it with parchment paper because this stuff is very sticky, and if I get it over the edge and it sticks to my garage floor, then the mirror will be glued to my garage floor. So I need to create like a little barrier. Okay, this is what it looks like, fully covered. Very whipped cream, cottage cheese, lumpy bumpy. And there was actually a trend going around where people just left it just like this, but that's not my plan. I have a vision of shaving it down with a serrated knife and then covering it in Drydex to give it a different look, because I think just this texture by itself is kind of gross. This stuff doesn't take too long to dry. I've used it a lot before, but I'm probably just gonna let it sit like overnight just to make sure it's fully hardened, and then I'll come back and try to shape it. But like I said, I'm making this up as I go along, so we'll see.
Miss Raven bought these nightstands for sale at Home Goods. They're a little beat up, torn up, but we're pretty sure we can fix it if we just put some Drydex over it. They've got this like plastery look, so it doesn't by any means have to be perfect.
So I let the foam on the mirror dry completely overnight. It is solid. It is stuck on there, but it is not stuck to the parchment paper because it peels right off the paper. I am completely freestyling this. No tutorial, no plan, just vibes. I have a general vision in my mind of what I want the final shape and texture to be like. Never done this before. I have this actual little saw, and then I have my handy dandy DIY knife, AKA a kitchen knife that I've been using for DIY projects for a long time. And I feel as though I should be able to just cut through this and shape it and smooth it with something like this, but we're about to find out. Let's see. Oh yeah, okay. So So I kind of want to like make it somewhat like flat on the top, I think. Kinda, a little bit. Just don't want it to be like so lumpy and bumpy, and like you can clearly see where I squirted it out right now, and it's kind of like, you know, it looks like squirts. I don't want it to look like that. I want it to look more like stone or something. My vision is starting to come along. I have a decent amount of experience with working with insulation foam and the dry deck spackling because I've used it for different projects for varying purposes. So I feel pretty confident about being able to make these two specific materials work for me in the way that I need them to work for me. But again, I'm making this up as I go along, so we gonna see. Okay, I think I have it shaved down to my liking. I'm gonna try and dust it off. Okay, now I'm gonna go in with dry deck spackling to make it look like some sort of stone or cement or something. I have my little spackler, and I'm just gonna try to do really thin layer. I don't wanna have to use a whole bunch of this. I mean, it's gonna take a lot regardless to cover this large mirror frame, but I want it to be a really thin layer. I don't know. Yeah, like that. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm making stuff up. That's the fun about crafting. You just make stuff up. If you wanna make something, you can just make it. You don't have to have rules. You can just make it. Make it up out of your own head. Put stuff together, then paint it red. The way this is going in all the nooks and crannies is making it take a lot more spackling than I imagined because there's a lot of nooks and crannies to cover. This is like doing a crumb coat on a cake. It is starting to look like kind of what I envisioned though. I'm just afraid of how much spackling it's gonna really take to get the look. I'm trying to really spread it out. You might be wondering, Raven, you've mentioned you have a certain phobia of holes. Is the texture of this foam not bothering you? Yes, it is bothering you. My whole body and inside of my nose and stuff itches really bad right now, but I'm determined to do this. I'm determined. Sometimes you gotta fight through your pain and fears. Sometimes you just gotta get her done. Breaking news, I have decided to go full savage mode and just use my hands and just kind of get it in there. This is getting it in the nooks and crannies better. Yum. My first 2 buckets of dry decks were actually pretty dried out. This is what a fresh bucket looks like. It's like really pink and really squishy, so this is gonna be fun to work with. I'm just fully using my hands at this point. Oh my gosh, this is kind of fun. I kind of like this texture. I'm literally just like slathering it on. This is so much easier to work with now that it's a fresh batch. I'm just gonna get it on there and then I'm gonna use the tool to kind of scrape it smooth. Okay, and then kind of scrape and smooth it out a little bit. Okay, here is my creation fully spackled. I really went ham and ended up like almost completely covering it. It's definitely not completely covered. Like there's lots of spots where the foam is still definitely like exposed, but I ran out of spackle. I used that whole last container. Those were both like 3/4 of the way full, and then that was a full one. So almost like 3 full containers. And I probably could have got a little bit more coverage if I had more, but I feel like this should be good. Day, I don't know, but it's time to grout. We have Poly Blend Plus non-sanded grout in the color Snow White. We have a bucket, I watched a quick YouTube tutorial and I'm just winging it. They say put the water in the bucket first, so that's what we're gonna do. I'm excited to grout the tile and just work with grout for the first time and gain this new skill. Again, I am a beginner, so I know these things take practice to really fully learn the skill, but there are certain skills when it comes to DIY, crafting, making things that I'm more comfortable with that I do all the time, like sewing or painting or using the Cricut maker, and those things are cool and all, but I've done so much of that recently that now it's more exciting for me to do something new with a new set of tools or materials or just like a new skill that I haven't tried at all. I'm really into that right now. I really feel like I'm in my new skill development era. Zoe and I were actually talking about for our custom work jumpsuits that we made, it would be really cute if we had almost like Girl Scout achievement patches, where as we learn new skills or learn how to use a new power tool or something like that, we would have a patch that's like the drill achievement, grout tiling achievement, and we would just like collect patches going down our jumpsuit. I think that would be so cute, but I haven't really thought of a way to be able to make the patches because they would have to be like custom patches. I don't have an embroidery machine to make actual like Girl Scout looking patches, and I'm not gonna sit there and embroider these patches by hand. Zoe likes to cross stitch though, so maybe she'll make them. I'm gonna put an arbitrary amount of water in here. We've got some water in here. My problem is this has measurements on it, but it's like if you're doing the whole entire bag, and I do not want to mix up this whole bag. So I'm just kind of eyeballing it. I know the consistency that I'm going for, so we can always mix up more as we need, but I don't want to mix up too much. Handy dandy DIY whisk. A lot of y'all were wondering why I had this, because it comes in handy. Is this the proper tool that you normally use for this? No, but it works. Who needs real tools when you have household items? Yeah, this is really watery. We're gonna need more powder. And the guy in the YouTube video was mixing for like multiple minutes, so. And he was using an electric actual mixer tool thing. We got a thick buttercream icing consistency right now.
I wanna touch it.
And it needs to be more brownie battery. So I'm gonna sprinkle in a bit of water.
Ooh. I don't like the way it looks.
Just needs to be mixed super good. I can tell there's lumps in there. It's got some thickness to it, but some dripness to it. And I think that's right. Now I'm just gonna use this, which is not the right tool. It's the same tool we used for the first step. The proper tool is called a float, and I know that, but we didn't buy one. Because this should work, right? We're about to find out. Just gonna get a scoop. Oh, it looks so edible. No technique, just vibes.
Yummy.
All the people who really know how to do this are cringing at home, I'm sure.
Their uneven tile placement.
I'm also splashing grout all on the part that shouldn't have grout on it. I think this is gonna look good.
Yeah, I think it's just gonna look sketchy for a while.
I already know that we did a bunch of things wrong when it comes to this tiling and grouting process, but I think it's looking pretty good. I mean, good enough for our first try, right? It's been a few minutes since we did the top, so I guess it's time to wipe. Here goes nothing. He said, don't push hard.
Oh.
This is almost like a smoothing, not a cleaning, I think.
Yeah, I think I get it. One video I watched, the girl said to clean your sponge like very often.
I think because we have to go back again, this feels like make sure the grout is in there and smoothed out. Then once it's more stabilized, then you can actually scrub the tiles off. Because otherwise you're gonna wipe the grout right out. Oh, it's looking like something.
Doesn't look too bad.
Okay, it has been wiped. It's gonna need like another pass through. We're gonna let it set up and then do another pass for these little mist spots and holes. There's like a few like air pocket holes and stuff like that and that. But we're gonna let it set up first, go back, fill those in, wipe it down again. But it's looking good. Okay, while we wait for our tile grout to fully dry, Zoe had patched up these side tables for me with Drydex. I sanded down this one already. I mean, it's gonna still have a rough texture to it, but I'm just trying to get the main chunks out where we patched it.
I'm gonna try to wipe off this haze.
And then my plan is to give them a fresh coat of matte white spray paint just to kind of clean them up a little bit. They got a lot of scuff marks, and this Dridex is not a matching color, so it looks kind of patchy. So I'm just gonna do a little spray paint touch up. Okay, tables are painted and drying. This is also done now. It's just gotta completely set up, and then we will bring it into the space and style it and fully clean. It'll probably need another like actual full cleaning, but that's done. Now we have the mirror left. I left off with almost fully covering it in Dridex, but I ran out, so there's still a lot of foam showing through. But I wanted to kind of let that dry and see what it was even gonna do first before I just like kept, you know, messing with it and adding onto it. So this is what it's looking like dried. It's definitely very like crunchy because I didn't like fully smooth it out when I applied it. So I'm thinking, I'm taking my little sanding block and I'm just going over it and smoothing it over a little bit. And then I'm gonna add more Dridex to the spots that are just still showing really bad and kind of get a more even coat of the Dridex. But I'm gonna sand it in between right now. Okay, I don't know if y'all can see the vision yet, but I feel like it's coming together. I see it. Now that I sanded it, I see it. It needs more, but I can see it. Do you see it? You see how it's starting to look like stone, rock, some sort of organic material? All right, I secured some more Dridex. It's time to finish covering the exposed insulation foam that I still have showing here. Fresh bucket of Dridex. Let's see. I think using my hands was the best method. It just worked better. Very messy, got all underneath my nails, but I think it's the best way, so. Here we go. I'm just trying to get a thin coat over all of the rest of the exposed spots. There's not too many spots that I need to cover, so hopefully it won't take much more of this stuff. All right, here's my patch job. Obviously you can clearly see all the pink patches. I used probably 2/3 of the container of Dridex, so it didn't take too much. So this is what it's looking like. I gotta let it dry overnight, sand it, and then we'll see what we got. Okay, now I'm not gonna lie, I'm starting to lose confidence in this mirror. I still see the vision and I still think it's possible, but I'm just not really sure what my final steps need to be to fully bring it together. Fresh new sleeping pillows, because I had some pillows from 1992 that looked very questionable when I took the cases off. I just went ahead and washed the existing white bedding that was already on the bed because I'm still gonna use that. And then I added a few of the new pillows and stuff that I got from Target and Amazon. But I know I'm gonna need to add more stuff to the bed. However, in the meantime, it's time to hang up these hanging lights that I got from Amazon. These particular style of lights were probably one of my biggest wish list items for this guest room makeover. I have so many of them saved to my Pinterest board. I just feel like they're a key factor to really give that like Tulum resort inspired vibe to the room. Check and see if it works. Plug it in, click it on. It works, it's dimmable. That's cool. Turn it down low for some mood lighting. This will just kind of be behind the table like this. Or I could like, but yeah, let me get a nail. I put another nail right here just to kind of hold it against the wall straight. And then since this lands perfectly between here and it fits, I'm gonna use a little double-sided sticky dot to just like stick it in place. Just stick it on the back here. We've been getting good use out of these sticky dots. So to use it, you just gotta twist the thing. So I took this painting off the wall from above the bed. I had it in there simply because I didn't know where else to put it. I didn't want it anywhere else actually visible in my home. I painted it just for fun mainly, and I believe this was already, like, there was something else originally underneath it that I painted over. I don't even remember. So I'm going to paint over it to better fit the vibes of the guest room now, and I have an idea. I came across these paintings on Etsy, and they're, you know, kind of obviously supposed to be like an ocean wave coming in onto the sand, very beachy, but it's kind of abstract. It's like if you first glance at it, it might just be an abstract painting, but then it's like, oh, it's an ocean wave. So I want to do something kind of like this, very neutral, white, beige, but I love the 3D texture that's added on these, and even like a sandy texture on the sand part. And so it looks like a mix of different mediums, but I'm not trying to make mine super duper realistic, just like something that's like the suggestion of an ocean wave. So I scrounged around the craft room because I'm using all recycled existing supplies for this. I found every shade of brown acrylic paint that I had in there. A lot of these are like almost empty or half empty, but I'm gonna have to just mix them all together. I do have a lot of white paint, which is good. So I'm just gonna like make a Franken brown sandy color, and I think I should have enough by mixing all this together with white, and then obviously white for the white part, and then for the textured part, you guessed it, good old Drydex, because Drydex is so multi-purpose clearly in my life. So I have this half container, not even half, fourth of a container left from the mirror that I think I'm gonna use for the texture. I've done this before. I have several paintings around my home that I've done with this sort of technique. And then I just got my little brushes. I've got these little things to kind of help scrape the Drydex and get the texture. Even sometimes something like a fork can help you get texture. And I'm just gonna paint right over top of this. This has a little bit of texture to it already, which I feel like, who cares? The more texture, the better. It's supposed to be abstract. I just have like scraps of brown paint. I'm gonna have to like, if this will even come out of here. Then for the lighter one, I'll mix some of my lighter shades and add some white to it probably. Reduce, reuse, recycle. I got all these little acrylic paints collected up in my craft room, so it's good to use them up. I'm planning on doing like a diagonal wave kind of going through. Well, really, this is already lighter, so it'll be like, this is the darker side, this is the lighter side. It'll kind of be like this general cutoff. Okay, let's get this covered. I'm gonna add a little bit of white to it to give it more dimension. Make sure you get the edges of the canvas. That makes it look professional and complete. See, the benefit of not doing anything to my garage floors is that I can just paint directly on top of them, and who cares if paint gets on the floor? Yeah, the previous texture showing through is actually just like adding to the effect, I think. It looks good. Okay, now for the darker side. Okay, now hear me out. I have an idea to make the sandy side. I know this side looks more like sand, but this is like wet sand. It'll come together, I think, once you see it, but this is the sandy side. I got a whole bunch of grout left over from the tile project. Actual sand would be a good option. I don't have actual sand. I have this. I'm using what I have. This is white colored, but I'm just curious, just as like a texture enhancer, what would it look like if I even just as like a ocean spray effect? I just think it would look cool mixed in there, just a little bit. It's not, okay, it's not giving sand, it's giving ocean spray, but okay, maybe not, maybe not, maybe not. Not too much of that. It was an idea. It's not gritty enough. I need actual sand. Okay, I went scavenging around and I found a small cup of actual brown sand. Don't ask me where I got this from, it's a secret. But I have procured some actual sand, ever so slightly. Just a tiny bit of texture. I don't want the big rocks on there. Or grass. There we go. Bit of texture, nothing too crazy. So here's where we are with that. Again, I'm not trying to make this so super literal. I've seen some artwork like this that's literally like cover it completely with sand and then paint the water blue. And then I'm not trying to do that. This is supposed to be more abstract, more artistic, more neutral. What I should do now is probably let this first layer dry and then go over it with the textured part for the water wave part, but I'm not gonna do that because I'm impatient. Now this dried X starts off bright pink and it does dry pretty white, not like a super stark white, but like white enough. I think I can add some white paint to it, and I could also paint over it. I'm gonna add a little bit of white paint to it. Just literally pouring this in there. So it's gonna look weird as I'm first applying it right now because it's gonna be pink, but it is gonna dry white. So you gotta trust the process. Essentially what it looks like was like a glob, and then you like scrape it back. I think I need to just glob on my border first. Oops. So I kind of have to build this up in layers, I think. I think I need more spackling though, actually. Make sure I have enough to fully spread it backwards like I'm gonna need to. Okay, I kind of got it globbed and scraped. Now I'm going in with a dry paintbrush to sort of give it a softer texture so it doesn't show so much of the scrape marks from this thing. Like this is kind of leaving some harsh lines that I'm trying to like brush out a little bit. I'm just keeping everything going in the direction of the water flow, you know, fading it out towards the bottom, but then I will have to go back with white paint and like add to that and fade it out more as well. But I think this is good. This is gonna take a long time to dry with these super globby parts right here. That's the only thing. It takes like a full 24 hours, if not more, to fully dry. I love doing abstract paintings like this. I actually have a few of them that I've done around the house using different mediums, different types of paint, spackling, stuff to add texture, gold foil leaf, just a lot of fun different things that honestly I just made up as I went along. I feel like this art style is really forgiving and it's more fun because I don't have to stress about perfecting something or actually trying to paint a scene and make it look realistic. Y'all know I can be a bit of a perfectionist and get caught up in the details, so it's really nice for me to be able to just kind of chill and relax when I'm working on these kind of paintings. It's a really carefree and stress-free form of art, which is highly needed sometimes. Okay, so my painting is drying. The mirror is actually still drying, and I'm waiting on some stuff to come in from Amazon, but in the meantime, this is done, and I wanted to bring it in here. It's heavy now with all the tile on it, just so I can see what this is looking like and be able to style around it. It's not the biggest, most substantial piece of furniture, you know. I understand that I could have put a big dresser here. There's a lot of things I could have put under here, but the whole point was reduce, reuse, recycle. And this is a guest room. There is no reason for a bunch of storage. I don't have people coming over who need to put a whole dresser worth of clothes in the drawers or anything like that. I like the fact that it does have a little bit of added height with the legs added, so it helps it look a little bit more substantial, but I definitely just need to like style it, you know? So it's definitely looking a little lackluster over here. I'm waiting on the baskets to come in. I planned on, you know, styling the top. This was a little vase I already had that I just didn't have a spot for. I bought this little tray from Target just for this purpose because it really goes with the vibes. I'm thinking this could be like that for the remotes, and then like what else could I put right here? Like a little candle or something for the guests, a little welcome snack for the guests. It definitely feels like it needs something tall right here, like a plant or a tall lamp or something. I do have this plant, which I had it styled on the opposite side, but does it do better on this side then? I don't know if this is like the right thing, but like it just needs something right there. I'm gonna have to mess around with the placement of everything once I get everything in. Okay, now that the dry deck spackling is dry on my painting, I'm just adding some finishing touches with some white paint and a big brush, just really lightly brushing this on to the very edge of where the waves are supposed to be crashing on, just to add that little extra pop of white. And I feel like this looks like the ocean, or at least enough like the ocean for you to understand that it's inspired by the ocean. Again, I wasn't going for a literal, super realistic picture of ocean waves. I just wanted the suggestion of a shoreline, you know? And I feel like it's giving that. And the Drydex is also dry on the mirror now, so I can go ahead and sand it and start perfecting that too. My goal is to just sort of sand it down to remove the really messy, rough areas, but overall, I do want this to be a very textured piece. Again, trying to kind of make it look like some sort of organic stone texture, but because I don't have an exact inspo pic that I'm going off of, I'm just sort of trying to imagine how the texture needs to look. And I'm still not exactly sure how I need to finish this off, but it's time to start adding the final touches to the room, so hopefully it just kind of comes together. Welcome to Resort Day Raven, the guest room. We're done, finally. Well, done for now. There's always more that can be done. There's always tweaks, there's always additions, there's always changes, but we're at a good stopping point. This is definitely a transformation. This room was never decorated intentionally, so now it looks intentional in here. It's actually got decor going on instead of just a bunch of graveyard stuff from previous rooms. So I'm pretty happy with it, but just keep in mind that this isn't like 100% done. There are a couple things that I want to add and change, but overall you can definitely hopefully tell the beachy tropical vacation resort vibes that I was going for. I think that comes through really well, so I'm happy about that. And it just looks kind of like comfortable and spa-like and relaxing in here, which is what I wanted for my guests. So I am going to give you guys a full run through and pricing breakdown of how much I spent on everything and what the total transformation cost me. I got my pricing breakdown so I can tell y'all the exact prices. So starting with our wood slat wall DIY, which I think turned out super cute as not only to act as the headboard, but also just like an accent wall situation. We bought 26 pieces of wood for about $5 each. So a total of about $130 worth of wood, which is not cheap, but when you think about what you might spend on a headboard plus getting an accent wall done, I think it's not bad. Then we had to get 2 bottles of liquid nails, which were about, $5 worth of liquid nails. And then I did also have to buy a new nail gun because I didn't have a nail gun, and that did cost me $139. Now, technically, you don't need a nail gun to complete this project. You can hammer nails in by hand if you want to, or maybe you already have a nail gun. So that's obviously an outlying cost. And then nails for the nail gun, which were about $10. So total, including the nail gun, was $283.33. to complete this wood slat wall. Next up is the bed, which this is just the original bed that I had in here. Queen size bed, so the underneath frame, the mattress, the main white comforter and sheets were pre-existing, so I didn't spend any money on that. But I did get basically all new pillows. So these two larger pillows back here are from Target. They were $40 each, so $80 total for those. Kind of pricey, but I really wanted this specific look. For these pillows though, I did reuse the existing pillows that I had, and I just got new cases for them off of Amazon. I got a set of two for $15.99, so that was affordable. Got this decorative fringe pillow from Target for $25. And then I got these two, the actual pillows themselves are new from Walmart. They were about $7 each. And then the covers are from Target. They were on sale. They're originally $20 each. I got them for $10 each. And then the matching quilt, which was sold separately from these pillowcases from Target. The quilt was also on sale, originally $80, and I got it for $39.50, so that was a good deal. For around the bed, well, number one, we have my artwork up here, which was free because it was my existing canvas that I painted over using all existing paint and stuff that I already had, so that didn't cost me anything. I have the light fixtures here hanging on both sides. These are from Amazon, and they were $39.99 each, so a total of like $72 for the light fixtures, but they came with all the hardware and the light bulb and everything, so I don't think that's a bad price. For the little end tables on either side, got those from Home Goods on clearance, damage discount for $25 each. Normally they go for closer to like $100, honestly. So I feel like that was a really good deal. Only thing I had to get extra for that was a can of white spray paint to touch them up, which was $8 worth of spray paint. But this I already had. This was here before, didn't spend any extra money on that. This I had gotten kind of recently when I had a bunch of people staying over. It's a little suitcase rack, you know how you have at the hotel when you want to open up your suitcase. Got this off of Amazon. Don't remember how much it cost. I know it was affordable, but technically it wasn't part of this transformation, so I'm not counting that towards my total. On this side, I already had this little plant. I've been having this thing for years and years. I think it's originally from Target, but that was already in here. And then to add to the little spa vibes in here, I found this at Ross for $7.99. That was a good deal. Really cute, goes with the vibes. And then I hung, this is my personal bathrobe, but I do want to actually order like maybe 2 bathrobes that are just for the guest room, just for my guests, because I like the idea of making it really feel like a hotel in here. So I think that would be cute. But for now, I just styled my own bathrobe in here, so that didn't cost me anything. And then I got this big basket from Ross as well. It was only $19.99, which I think is a really good deal for that size and this like nice quality basket. And I just put my crocheted blanket that I already had in here in there. And fun fact, that was actually crocheted for me by a subscriber, so shout out to you. Moving on to the mirror, which I do want to say is not really 100% done. I kind of wanted to just get it up in here, kind of see what it looked like, see what else I wanted to do to it or what it might need. You guys can comment down below and let me know if you guys have any suggestions as well. I like the color of it, I think. I don't think I would want to paint it any other color, but I'm trying to decide, like, should I add a little bit more Drydex to fully cover up all these little spots that are showing? Should I maybe paint it? Should I add something else to it to like add more dimension? I feel like there's a lot of different directions and materials that I could use. And then it's kind of sandy and crumbly. So I'm thinking if I seal it with some Mod Podge, that would help just give it like a nice coating and seal everything in so it's not so like dusty and crumbly. But low key, I mean, it's good enough for now. But what I spent on it, I used 4 cans of insulation foam for $4.38 each, so $17.52 worth of insulation foam. And I also used 4 containers of the Drydex spackling, which are like $13 each, so that was like $52 worth of spackling. And if I do end up using the Mod Podge, which I think I will to seal it in, that's gonna be probably like $10 to $15 worth of Mod Podge. So total cost of the supplies to flip the existing mirror, I didn't have to buy the mirror, but total cost of the supplies is about $83. So not the cheapest DIY, but if you were to be buying a mirror, anything like this, it would cost you hundreds and hundreds of dollars. So, I mean, I think it's not bad. Then over here with the TV was already in here, had this TV for years, so I didn't spend any money on that. But we have our main star of the show on this side, which is our tiled cube cubby shelf DIY situation, which this actually turned out really cute. Like, I wasn't too sure about it because it wasn't my original plan and I wasn't sure if I was gonna like it as much, but I actually really like it. I think it turned out cute, especially with the baskets added. So the pricing breakdown on this DIY, obviously I already had the cubby shelf from Target. They're affordable to begin with anyways. I don't know how much they cost, but I already had that. The tiles themselves, we bought 7 tiles for $2.33 each, so $16 worth of tiles, $14 worth of tile adhesive, $16 worth of grout. We bought a set of sponges for about $5, and then these wooden legs on the bottom were from Amazon. We got those as a set for about $17. And the most expensive, almost the most expensive singular item in this whole room actually, or purchase, is the set of 6 baskets. So I got these as a set off of Amazon and they were $93.99 for a set of these 6 baskets, which I was kind of shocked. But then when I was comparing prices, they do tend to go for like $15 each anywhere that you look. So just a little heads up, if you're shopping for baskets like this, apparently they're expensive. So that was pretty pricey, which brought the whole total up to $161.28 for this whole DIY, which is definitely more than I would think. But it's really because of the baskets. Without the baskets, it's closer to like 60 bucks, which I think is good. And then I styled it with this pot that I already had, these which I already had from my resort-inspired birthday party, pulled those out of storage, which I think worked perfect for the vibe in here. I got this little tray from Target for $14.99, which is the perfect little thing to like put the remotes in, and maybe I could like style, like if I have guests coming over, maybe I could put like some chocolates or some mints out for them or something, make it like a hotel. This little thing, it's like a candle lantern thing. It kind of looks like a trash can, and I was almost thinking like maybe I should put a trash can in there instead of a candle. It would be more functional. But that's also from my birthday party decor repurpose. And this whole plant setup over here was already in here, so I didn't spend anything on that. And the last purchase in here is these decorative wall basket plate thingies. I got this as a set at Hobby Lobby on clearance for $41.99. They were originally like $70. So I was happy when I found that because it totally matches in here. And it just came as like a loose set, and you know, you get to configure them however you want on the wall. And that's it. So that brings our grand total for my guest room makeover to $937.75. I hope you guys like how it turned out. I definitely do. And if you want to see more of the rooms around my house, get ready for my next video because I'm actually going to be giving you guys an updated house tour, which also includes some of my Amazon favorites.